These people are eating raw chicken, known as chicken sashimi. It usually consists of thinly sliced chicken breast meat, boiled and seared for about 10 seconds. You've been told all your life never to eat raw chicken, so how are these people able to do it? And what would happen to your body if you had some of this meat? Could you die from eating raw chicken? On today's episode, we're going to find out. This is your body on eating raw chicken. Known as torisashi in Japan, this chewy, slimy piece of meat is considered a delicacy by some. And really, who doesn't like chewing on rubbery, gel shoe insoles? After all, it would be great exercise for the jaw muscles. So what would happen if you ate some? Well, let's say you're the adventurous type and have decided to try torisashi. Or maybe you just accidentally ate some chicken that wasn't thoroughly cooked. What effect is it going to have on your body? Well, that depends on what pathogens, if any, are in your chicken. Immediately after eating, any sickness you may feel would likely be a figment of your imagination. The idea of having eaten raw chicken would cause your stomach to turn over. Of course, if you actually chose to eat raw chicken, you may just be feeling sated and satisfied. And proud that you weren't going to let some pesky little pathogens rule your life. However, by hour 6, you may start feeling the first symptoms of salmonellosis. Cramps in your stomach, nausea, vomiting, and headaches. Your temperature starts to rise and you'd suffer from a fever. And you'd best stay close to the toilet as diarrhea will have you heading there in no time. It might even be bloody.
It feels like I'm dying.
By hour 8, you'll still be sitting on the toilet. You might even have severe abdominal cramps. That's because salmonella isn't the only pathogen you have to worry about. In this case, you're suffering from Clostridium perfringens. Although this pathogen usually appears in cooked meat that is kept warm for a long time, it can also be found in raw chicken. The good thing about this pathogen is that, unpleasant as it is, it usually only lasts for about 24 hours. Still, it's 24 hours I wouldn't want to experience. So, one day later, you should start feeling better. 2 days have passed since you ate the raw chicken. You haven't felt any adverse effects. You've got nothing to worry about now, right? After all, if you were going to get sick, it would have happened by now. Well, not if the chicken was infected with campylobacteriosis. If you have a campylobacter infection, you won't start feeling the fever, cramps, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea until 2 to 5 days after eating raw chicken. The diarrhea could be so bad and bloody that you might even suffer from dehydration as well. Okay, 4 days have passed now since you munched down on that chicken sashimi. If you were suffering from salmonella, you should start feeling better. Your temperature should be back to normal by now, and the cramps, headaches, and vomiting should be just about done. Oh, finally. But maybe you're one of the lucky ones. It's now 6 days later and still no effects. Not like those suckers who've been vomiting all week. Oh no, where's the toilet? Salmonella can be tricky. Although it typically appears soon after ingestion, it can sometimes lay dormant for a while and not show its ugly side effects for as long as 6 days. Oh, it's been a very long week, but if you have a Campylobacter infection, the good news is that you should start feeling better now. It may still take a few days for it to be entirely out of your system, but you're definitely on the mend. Thankfully, most people don't suffer from long-term health problems caused by food poisoning. However, it can lead to severe complications, particularly with those who are very young, elderly, immune-compromised, or pregnant. Possible long-term effects include irritable bowel syndrome, reactive arthritis, and even neurological issues. But good thing you were able to avoid all that. You just had a couple of days on the toilet. You should be as good as new. So, what makes torisashi, or chicken sashimi, safe? Well, nothing really. Unlike the parasites in raw fish that are killed by freezing, salmonella is unaffected by cold. And chicken is more porous than beef and fish, allowing pathogens to penetrate deep into the meat. Restaurants serving the raw chicken dish will argue that the chickens they use are raised to the highest standard and are served as fresh as possible. In Japan, torisashi producers use a specific breed of chicken called shamo that is fed a particular diet including wasabi leaves, considered a natural antiseptic that kills salmonella. Still, that doesn't mean that the chicken can't come into contact with various bacteria. So, if you do decide to give raw chicken a try, be prepared for the possibility of getting really sick. And remember, if you do get sick, there's not much you can do to lessen its effects. You're just gonna have to ride it through to the end. Alcohol abuse is a huge problem. One that has cost people their lives, whether you're a party animal or a sommelier.
This comes from your mother's butt?
Moderating your alcohol intake is essential for good health. How does alcohol affect the body? And how much alcohol is too much?
Why do you ask?
This is your body on drinking only alcohol for 1 week. The Dietary Guidelines for Healthy Americans currently recommends 2 drinks of alcohol or less per day for an adult male and 1 drink or less for an adult female.
Honey, I'd suck the alcohol out of a deodorant stick, so you're asking the wrong gal.
So, what happens when you overconsume?
I am so freaking wasted.
Well, for the sake of science, we're going to find out. But please, do not try this experiment. It is incredibly dangerous and damaging to your health. Day 1. Starting your morning with mojitos or coffee liqueur is not a healthy breakfast.
2 shots of vodka.
Up to 20% of the alcohol in your drink is absorbed into your blood from your stomach. The rest will enter your bloodstream from the small intestine. As your body absorbs the alcohol, it circulates throughout the body. Your liver will process the alcohol into water, carbon dioxide, and energy. Your kidneys will work extra hard to filter the alcohol out of your blood. You'll pee out as much as 10% of it.
Everybody my age pees their pants. It's the coolest.
At first, you might feel happy and a little tipsy.
I'm doing good, baby. How you doing?
Your brain increases its dopamine release in the early stages of drinking. However, alcohol also impairs your reasoning and memory. Whatever you do, do not get behind the wheel. Even a couple of drinks can be enough to cause an accident.
I guess we're not going.
Day 2. Okay, you've gone a whole day with only alcoholic drinks and you've woken up thirsty.
I've never been this hungover.
You might think a cold beer will quench your thirst. Well, no, not really.
Want to know a surefire hangover cure? Never stop drinking.
Alcohol may quench your immediate thirst, but too much of it will dehydrate you, making you even thirstier. Day 3. You're feeling bloated and hungover, and you notice you need to visit the toilet more than usual. Well, that's because alcohol is a diuretic, a chemical that increases urine production in the body. It can also cause increased bowel movements. You might also feel a little dizzy and confused at this point. The more alcohol you drink, the more it affects the functioning of your brain's occipital, temporal, and frontal lobes. This could cause blurred vision, slurred speech, and a loss of fine motor skills.
He's drunk as
Eventually, it will affect your cerebellum, which helps with coordination. Okay, it's been 4 days and you feel like death. Just the scent of alcohol is making you nauseous. Looks like you overdid it last night. But you can't even remember what you did last night or where this tattoo came from.
This is a real tattoo!
Oh boy. And now, your digestive system is out of whack. All that alcohol has damaged the healthy microbiome in your gut. If you continued your increased alcohol consumption long term, the lining of your stomach and digestive tract could break down. This would allow digestive acids to leak and damage your intestines. Day 5. You wake up tired. You haven't been sleeping well in the last few nights because your body has been unable to relax. The alcohol has caused your heart rate to increase, making it difficult to fall asleep. Alcohol has been linked to an estimated 10% of persistent insomnia cases. When you do sleep, you're snoring. You might even have sleep apnea or other breathing issues. And if you have roommates, they'll be losing sleep too. Day 6. Alcohol is a depressant, and you've been feeling its effects the last few days. You're easily irritated, and it's been getting worse as the week goes on. You've had headaches, and you could suffer a migraine or have trouble with your sight.
I'm blind.
Your balance is off, and your judgment is impaired. You might even smell of alcohol as it evaporates from the blood vessels in your skin. Day 7. Okay, after a week of heavy drinking, you may vow never to drink again.
You gonna quit drinking?
Don't be ridiculous.
Your stomach is sore, your head is throbbing, and you have trouble walking a straight line. What's worse is you've increased your risk of stroke, heart failure, and aneurysm. Having just 5 drinks a week can increase those odds, and you've had considerably more than that. At this rate, you may have taken a few years off of your life. Day 8. Okay, party's over. You are severely dehydrated. Time to drink some water. Lots of it. But don't overdo it. That can be dangerous too.
That looks like a juicy bell pepper. But wait, is something moving inside it? How did that insect get into the pepper? How did all these insects get inside?
I don't want to know. Yes, you do.
Insects are a diverse group of organisms. There are 900,000 species that we know of. These crawly beings live pretty much everywhere, including inside the food you eat. Which insects get into our food most often? What happens if we accidentally eat a bug? And which deadly cheese contains maggots as its secret ingredient?
No.
Some bugs, like the one inside the pepper, can infest crops during the growing season and stay inside until they mature. And while it may upset you to find a bug in your burger, it's safe to eat many insects. You may have eaten one without knowing it. Have you seen pests in your pantry, like the ones that attack your cereal or cake mix? And while it might be gross, finding bugs in your food isn't necessarily dangerous. Government agencies don't consider them a safety hazard unless there's an obvious infestation of many bugs from different species. Many people eat insects by choice. Humans have been practicing entomophagy, or eating insects, for tens of thousands of years. So far, we know of more than 1,900 edible insect species. Nearly 2 billion regularly eat these bugs. These creepy critters are excellent sources of protein, fatty acids, and other nutrients. Beetles, caterpillars, and bees are popular food choices. People have safely eaten crickets and silkworms in Asia, Africa, and some Latin American countries for years. Even some North American grocery stores sell insects as food in whole, dried, or powdered form. Could eating these creepy crawlies be the answer to food insecurity? Perhaps. Some experts believe eating insects could be a good alternative to meat, which costs much more money and has more environmental effects. Insects produce significantly lower greenhouse gas emissions during farming and need less land, feed, and water than traditional livestock. Compared to cows, insects also contain higher amounts of minerals such as iron and magnesium. One place even makes eating an insect into a rare delicacy. You might know that the Italian island of Sardinia has beautiful beaches, bright blue seas, and fascinating rock formations. It's also home to casu marzu. That's the world's most dangerous cheese, according to the Guinness World Records. The cheese is created by and infested with maggots.
I'm sorry, what?
Casu marzu is produced around the end of June when the local sheep enter their reproductive time. The dry grass they chew changes the taste of their milk. Piophila or cheese skipper flies typically lay their eggs in the cracks of a salty pecorino cheese called fiore sardo. The maggots hatch, eating and wiggling through the cheese and digesting its proteins. They transform the fiore sardo into a soft, creamy cheese. After 3 months, the cheesemonger opens the top. If you are squeamish, you might not want to see the frantic and wriggling maggots inside the creamy cheese. Sometimes local people use a centrifuge to blend the maggots into the cheese. Other people just open their mouths and eat the infested cheese without trying to hide the maggots. Would you dare to take a bite of that? The government banned commercial sales of this cheese, but local residents have been eating it for centuries, and it is registered as a traditional product of Sardinia. Debate continues about this dangerous dairy product. Some claim it's an aphrodisiac. Others claim that eating the cheese could be hazardous for human health, as some maggots could survive being eaten and cause myiasis, microperforations in the intestines. There are no recorded cases so far. So, what does casu marzu taste like? People who have tried it say it has a strong and spicy flavor that they can taste for hours.
I can taste it on my tongue.
And while the maggots in this cheese could be dangerous, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations says it's important to be cautious when eating other insects. Eating insects could cause allergic reactions or illnesses due to bacteria such as E. coli, and bugs could contain pesticides and other toxic materials. Experts recommend thoroughly washing and cooking insects before eating them. Are you intrigued by maggot cheese? To find out more, watch our episode about why people indulge in this hazardous treat. By living in a cheese and turning it into an exotic food, maggots have made their way to the Guinness World Records, and that's what makes them crazy creatures.
Most of us strive to lose weight, but these people might be actively trying to gain it. If they continue to eat this much food, they could end up weighing up to 500 pounds. Now, gaining 5 to 10 pounds during the holidays is one thing, but gaining 300 pounds usually happens gradually, after years of bad habits combined with other factors. But how about we speed up that process and have you gain 300 pounds in just 1 year? What kind of health problems could you expect? This is your body on gaining 300 pounds in 1 year. Rapid weight gain is when you put on a large amount of weight in a short time. And that's what we'll be doing today. Most people would find it a challenge to gain 100 pounds in a year, but we'll be gaining 300 pounds. What would you need to do to accomplish this? Could it be eating a mountain of McDonald's every day? Canceling your gym membership? Or both? Let's find out. So, you're trying to gain 300 pounds in a year. That breaks down to 25 pounds a month. There are many factors that contribute to rapid weight gain. Let's start with an obvious one: diet. One study concluded that eating 1,000 extra calories a day for 5 days did not lead to significant weight gain. However, eating 1,000 extra calories a day for a month led to a weight gain of about 3 pounds and increased blood sugar. That's like eating 7 or 8 Big Macs a day for 30 days. But those are rookie numbers. To reach your goal of gaining 25 pounds a month, you would need to quintuple that amount of calories. Wow, that's a lot of Big Macs. Okay, by now you've gained 25 pounds. In addition to eating thousands and thousands of calories of junk food, you've also incorporated a second element into your weight gain journey. And that's eliminating exercise. You won't even be able to walk, as that expends too many calories for this challenge. You may feel a little sluggish, but the extra weight hasn't affected you too much. Yet. Okay, now you've gained 75 pounds. You've begun to notice it, both in how you feel and look. A third and unexpected contributor to weight gain is lack of sleep. We burn calories while we sleep, so to stay on track with our weight gain, you're going to need to sleep the bare minimum a human needs, leading you to feel more and more exhausted. Now you're feeling it. With 150 extra pounds, how could you not? You're tired all the time. You don't recognize yourself, and you're on the path to some serious health problems. You know, a fourth element that plays a role in rapid weight gain is genetics. If you want to complete this challenge in time, your genetics will have to be pretty bad. At least when it comes to keeping your weight off. According to the Harvard Medical School, more than 400 different genes can contribute to obesity. These genes affect things like appetite, metabolism, and feeling full. So not only are you always craving large quantities of food that are high in trans fats, carbs, and sugar, but your stomach is a bottomless pit and your metabolism can't keep up. Over 12 months, you managed to combine all the factors: eating tons of junk food, not exercising, not sleeping enough, and bad genetics. And you met your 300-pound goal. Now what? Well, putting on that much weight would make it hard to move or walk. Your bones would have trouble supporting you. You'd likely be diagnosed with some significant health problems like heart disease, diabetes, or cancer. Even breathing can become difficult. Plus, obesity is linked to depression and low self-esteem, so you'd not only be physically unhealthy, but possibly mentally unhealthy as well. That doesn't sound like much of a life at all. In general, gaining a large amount of weight in a short amount of time is not a healthy or safe thing to do, and therefore not worth it. But if you want to gain weight in a healthy way by, say, using weight training to build muscle slowly over time, then yeah, give it a try. But you won't gain 300 pounds in a year this way, and that's a good thing. You may be game to gain 300 pounds in 1 year, but we don't recommend it. I think it's time to go on a health kick. Let's try going vegan for a year. Think you're up for it? Well, we'll see what the challenge brings on another episode of Your Body On.